Welcome back to my channel, and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen. I'm a certified weight loss and nutrition coach, and today we're going to talk about a topic that I get asked a lot about as a weight loss and nutrition coach. How do I stop thinking about food all day long? The minute I stop eating, I'm thinking about my next meal. I'm thinking about my next snack. I'm focused on food all day. So I want to share with you some tips and tricks on how you can get your mind off of food. And I promise that's going to help you with your weight loss journey. So if you're excited, give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not. Turn your bell on because again, I upload new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Don't forget to check out the description box down below where you will find nutrition coaching. I do offer personalized to you macros and calories. This is how I have lost and maintained 140-pound weight loss, as well as one-on-one coaching if you would like to chat with me directly, ask questions, or if you need additional support. I'll also link my favorite healthy things down below for you. So let's talk about how you can stop thinking about food all day long. Now we know that food is essential for survival. It's essential for human life. And we know that it's also the central part of a lot of celebrations. A lot of things that we do in life revolve around food. Girls' nights, date nights, birthday parties, celebrations, holidays, all of those things tend to revolve around food. So it's human nature that we would think about food on a very regular basis. However, thinking about food too often can be really frustrating and can consume your life. I mean, let's be honest. Food should fit into your life. Your life should not revolve around food. So I want to talk to you about why you may be thinking about food all the time and steps that you can take to stop. Make your life a little bit more enjoyable. Start focus on things that really matter rather than your next meal or snack. So first, let's talk about why you may think about food all the time. Our brains use two separate pathways to regulate our hunger as well as our food intake. When one of these brain waves, one of these pathways is triggered, we think about food. There's the homeostatic pathway. This pathway regulates your appetite and is stimulated when your body experiences a calorie deficit. That's because your body needs calories to produce energy and maintain basic metabolic functions. And then there's the hedonic pathway. This pathway may override the homeostatic pathway and cause food cravings, particularly for hyper-palatable foods, even when your body has enough energy to maintain its metabolic function. Hyper-palatable foods include those that are high in fat, salt, and simple sugar, such as candy, desserts, and fried foods, among others. These foods tend to trigger sensory receptors in your brain linked to the feelings of pleasure and reward. So what triggers these homeostatic pathways? Its main function is to let the body know when it needs food. And you have to remember, when you're in a calorie deficit, you're not giving your body all the food that your body needs. You're in a deficit. You're not giving your body the calories that it needs to maintain. You're putting it in a deficit. When our body needs energy or needs food, it releases certain hormones to our brain. Two of the hormones your body releases to the brain in response to its current levels of energy are leptin and ghrelin. You may have heard of these referred to as your hunger hormone. So leptin actually suppresses your hunger and your thoughts about food. It is released when your body has enough energy. Now on the flip side, ghrelin is released when your body's low on energy and is the hormone that triggers cravings and hunger. Sometimes when we think about food, it's simply because we're hungry, and we really, really need to listen to our bodies. If we're hungry, we need to eat. Even if that means consuming more calories than you may think that you want to during the day, if you're hungry, you really need to listen to your body's signals. So the need for food and the need for nutrition and energy triggers the homeopathic pathway, the hedonic pathway is often triggered from cravings, thinking about food, seeing food, smelling food, thinking about the taste of food. It's also triggered by the environment around you, food availability, your thoughts, advertising, emotions, and stress. Sometimes environmental cues such as a food commercial, being in the presence of certain foods, or simply hearing someone else talk about food can make you think about it. Hyperpalatable foods trigger cravings. Hyperpalatable foods are generally not the healthiest options. These are going to be things like sweet things, salty things, processed foods. These trigger an addictive-like food behavior. These are foods that we generally overeat, and these are the foods that we crave. Not that we're necessarily hungry, but that we crave. So now that we know the different pathways that our brain takes when it relates to food, I want to share with you 9 tips to stop thinking about food all the time. Understanding food behaviors and how our thoughts work can be exponentially important when it comes to not only losing weight, but maintaining that weight loss and healing your relationship with food, which is the number one thing we should focus on a health journey. So tip number 1 is take it easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. It takes time to understand our relationship with food, to really hone in on what is your relationship with food, what is good about it, what is bad about it. So give yourself some grace and some time to really learn your relationship with food and take those baby steps in correcting it. If you feel guilty or shameful about your food choices, this is just putting you in the wrong direction. Food has no moral value. It's not good, it's not bad. Food is just food. And when you stop labeling food as bad or good, stop demonizing food, stop saying these foods are healthy and these foods are not, that is really going to help you on your journey. Ask yourself if you're feeling deprived, if you're honestly in deprivation mode on whatever lifestyle or diet you're following. The relationship between food restrictions, brain, hunger, all of these things are still being evaluated by scientists, but these all play a part in whether or not you think about food all day. But the number one cause of thinking about food all day is restriction. If you restrict foods, label foods as bad and good, tell yourself you can't have food, you're going to think about it even more. I always go back on the having a boyfriend in high school that your parents didn't like, and they said, you can't see Johnny anymore. He's not a good guy. What did you want? To see Johnny even more, to spend more time with Johnny. Now, if your parents wouldn't have said that to you, would you have figured out that Johnny wasn't a good guy on your own and maybe a little bit quicker? There's a good possibility. When we tell ourselves we can't have something, we want it even more, and that's food included. Allow yourselves to enjoy all foods. Enjoy your favorite foods in moderation. Do not restrict or eliminate any food or any food group. It's not healthy, it's not sustainable, and it's not doing you any favors with your relationship with food. Number 3, enjoy healthy meals and snacks. Make sure that you're eating foods you like, but that you're also fueling your body with nutritious food. Foods that are nutritionally sound will help regulate your appetite and will stop you from thinking about food all day. Furthermore, foods that are high in protein, high in fiber, they're going to keep you fuller for longer and take your mind off of your next meal or snack. Now, some really great snack ideas, because you should be snacking during the day. It is recommended to eat every 2 to 3 hours to keep your metabolism going. So that would be 3 meals a day plus 2 to 3 snacks per day. And there are some ways to structure those snacks to get in your nutrients, to get in protein and fiber, and stop your brain from focusing on food all day. Some examples of these really good healthy snacks are things like Greek yogurt with fruit, apples with nut butter, veggie sticks with hummus, cottage cheese with cherry tomatoes, whole grain crackers with sliced cheese. All of these are full of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and will keep you full and satisfied and keep this off of the next meal or snack. Number 4, drink enough water. It is true that water actually takes up space in your stomach, so it helps keep you full. Now, just because you drink water doesn't mean that you're going to be full all day and that you're not going to need food. You are absolutely still going to need all of your meals and snacks, but it can take the edge off of hunger. Not to mention, a lot of times we confuse hunger with thirst. Sometimes we think we're hungry, and if we just drink some water, we're no longer hungry. And that is learning about your body and your brain and knowing what you need for food versus water. Number 5, identify your specific patterns and triggers when it comes to food. Everybody is different. We all have different triggers. We all have different patterns. We all have different things that we need to work on to heal our relationship with food. And again, to stop thinking about food day in and day out. Consider keeping a journal and write down things that trigger your thoughts about food. What happened that made you think you needed a snack or a specific food when maybe you weren't actually hungry? You really need to learn the difference between head hunger and actual hunger. There's a huge difference. If you would be interested in a video on head hunger versus actual hunger, let me know down below in the comments. Think about this. If you have food in front of you, you're generally going to think that you're hungry and you're going to reach for that food, whether you're truly hungry or not. So it's important to keep snacky foods like candies and cookies and things out of sight, out of mind, especially if you haven't quite healed that part of your relationship with food. Learn your triggers and learn your patterns. This is so incredibly important for long-term weight loss and health success. and to really stop focusing on food. Number 6, learn to let the thoughts about food pass. You don't need instant gratification. The minute you think you're hungry or something sounds good, you shouldn't eat it. You should give yourself some time to really decide again, are you truly hungry or is it again head hunger? A few examples of things that you can do to kind of distract yourself when you're thinking about a specific food or craving a food is to pause and take a break from what you're doing, stand up and stretch, take a walk, drink a glass of water, read something that interests you, work on your favorite craft or hobby, meditate for a few minutes, for example, using a meditation app, and journal about how you're feeling. Take a moment to connect with yourself and decide if you really need that snack. Number 7 is to consider mindful eating or undistracted eating. Basically, mindful eating means that you're aware, that you're in the moment and you're present when you're consuming a meal. You're really focusing on the taste, the texture, the smell, the sight of that food, rather than being distracted by things like your phone or TV while eating. There's some habits that equate to mindful eating. Eating slowly, removing all distractions like TV or your phone, paying attention to the colors, scents, textures, and flavors of your food, and staying aware of your body's hunger and fullness cues throughout the meal. One thing I want to point out is we don't want to eat till we're full. We want to eat until we're satisfied. So check in with yourself, be mindful, and ask yourself, am I still hungry or am I satisfied? There's a big difference between eating until you're full and eating until you're satisfied, and really listening to your body's hunger cues. That's the focus that we should have, and that is equated to mindful eating. Tip number 8 is to move more. Move your body a little bit more. Did you know that physical exercise can actually influence how your body responds to seeing food, hearing about food, smelling food? When we're exercising, when we're doing something physical, when we're moving our body, guess what we're not doing? Thinking about food. And we're getting in some exercise and we're contributing to a healthier lifestyle. It's actually recommended that healthy adults get between 2.5 and 5 hours of moderate activity every single week, or 1.25 to 3 hours of vigorous activity every week. So some examples of moderate activity are things like dancing, gardening, water exercises, walking at a brisk pace, bicycling slowly. Now, some vigorous, intense physical activity include things like hiking, heavy yard work, distance or lap swimming, running, and bicycling quickly. If you can get yourself into a daily exercise routine, I promise not only will you feel better, you'll look better, you'll be more successful on your weight loss journey, but you'll also stop thinking about food as much because you're focused on the physical activity, and nobody wants to exercise just to screw it up with food. So you're really a lot more mindful about food and a lot less likely to think about it all day. And number 9 is to know when to ask for help. It is okay to seek support, counseling, guidance, therapy. It is absolutely recommended, and it's important for you to know when you are just at a place where you need some professional help. If your thoughts about food, your body image, or your eating habits are really out of control, it's time to ask for help. And don't be ashamed about that. It's better to be self-aware enough to know that you need a little bit of extra help. And what's more important is that you live a healthy, happy lifestyle and that you don't let food consume every thought throughout the day. So remember, ask for help if you need it. Remember, thinking about food is normal. It's absolutely human nature to think about food. We just don't want it to consume every minute and every hour of our day. And we want to make sure that we're not craving the wrong foods, that we're listening to our body, that we understand our brain triggers and the hormones that trigger from our brain based on the types of foods that we think that we need to be consuming. Eating mindfully, moving our body, focusing on whole real food, that's really going to help with those food cravings and those thoughts of food. And remember, if your thoughts about food feel like they're overwhelming or obsessive, seek some help. It is absolutely okay to invest in yourself and look into therapy if needed. Let me know down below what are some of your tips to stop thinking about food all day. And I really hope this helped you guys out. Like I said, this is a question that I get asked all the time. This used to be me. I used to think about food day in and day out. That is not the case anymore. I don't think about food until I'm actually hungry. And that's where we want to get mentally and physically. And if you enjoyed today's video and you found it helpful, of course, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn your bell on, because again, I do upload new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. If you want some support, some accountability, some help, I do offer nutrition coaching and personalized macros and calories. And I'll link my favorite healthy things down below for you as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.